Hey everyone, Brendan Sander here. How are you? Thanks so much for joining me and welcome to a run through of my Motley Crue CD collection. The band formed in 1981 and have only released 9 studio albums, which I think is an absolute shame. And I hope with the infusion of new blood from John 5 coming in for Mick Mars, they will record a full-length album, but time will tell whether or not that's actually going to happen. In the meantime, I've got a 30 CD collection that I'm going to run through here with you guys. And since they just put out that new best of, I've included that in here. And we're going to go from the start all the way up to the latest thing that just dropped called From the Beginning. And we'll get into it here in just a bit. But before we start, if you're new to my channel and haven't already hit the subscribe button, please do. Leave a comment, hit like, all those things do help. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss cool videos like this with me running through my Motley Crue CD collection. So first up, I want to start with something that's not a CD, but is the actual beginning of Motley Crue. And I always found it interesting that they formed in 81 and within about 6 months, they were already in the studio recording their debut album, Too Fast for Love. But this one is the original Leather Records version that has a different mix, different track listing on it. This is a reissue of it from, this is Hip O Select did this, and they included a replica of the original 45 that the band first put out, Stick to Your Guns and Toast of the Town, reproducing that. So I had to get it because of this and because of the different sound and mix and track listing, all of that. And I've actually always really liked the Leather Records version, but finally being able to get an actual vinyl copy, even though it is a reissue, I'm okay with that. This one here still very highly sought after as well. But that, of course, would lead to the band going into the studio and actually properly doing this one here, the copy that we all know and love, or the sound of the album we know and love, because they went in, remixed it, and partially re-recorded some of it, different track listing on this as well. So this is part of the Crucial Crue series where they went back in, remastered, and added a whole bunch of bonus tracks. And so we get CD edition of the songs of Toast of the Town, Stick to Your Guns on there. So if you want to hear those and you don't have that 45, there is a way to hear it current. And well, actually, the Crucial Crues are now out of print and the recent reissues don't have that. But you can go find one used. All right, so we're going to continue through their album, Shout at the Devil, 83, same thing, bonus tracks on here. This has the song, the outtake, I Will Survive, which is an absolute fantastic track. We get Theater of Pain, again, Crucial Crue, with a bunch of bonus tracks. This one not having an unreleased song that wasn't a part of the album, just different alternate versions. Girls, Girls, Girls from 1987. This one here has the song Rodeo, which I absolutely love and think should have totally been part of the album. I guess they decided they didn't need another ballad on the album. They went with the one that was already on here and chose to, drop the other one. But that song, so good. Love it for, love the Crucial Crue version for that reason. I picked up the 30th anniversary edition of the album in the slipcase format of it. And it still has everything that's on this one here. It does add in a live bonus track because these would be later reissued again, adding 1 additional tracks after the label Beyond Records went out of business. Whoever it is that picked it up after that, reissued, and they added an extra live track, and I have some of that in here, but not on all of these. So that's actually on this one here, but this came with a DVD of the band talking about the songs and stuff, and I wanted that. So that was cool, but a little bummed that there wasn't anything extra beyond what had already been released audio-wise. Now, in 1988, they put out an EP called Raw Tracks. And at the time, it's a Japanese release. This had Livewire, Piece of Your Action, the original Leather Records mixes, Too Young to Fall in Love, a 45 remix single edition of it, which I later found a version of that. Then they have the regular album cut of Knock 'Em Dead Kid, Home Sweet Home, a remix, and Smoking in the Boys Room live. So very cool to get that. I remember picking this up at the time frame of Dr. Feelgood, because at that time another one came out. I'll show you that in just a minute. But we do move on to Dr. Feelgood from 1989, Crucial Crew edition, with a bunch of additional tracks, including the outtake, Get It For Free, not on the album. So I absolutely love that. And recently they did an anniversary edition of the album. I guess it would have been the 35th anniversary edition, put this out last year, and I liked the alternate album artwork. There's nothing different about it, and it doesn't have any of the bonus tracks, but I just bought it to get the alternate album edition, and I chose not to buy the box set edition of it. A lot of their box sets that they have put out for Shout at the Devil and Dr. Feelgood, all the same content is already available on the Crucial Crew CDs and stuff, so I didn't pick that up. Now, at the same time of 89, they put out Raw Tracks 2, another Japanese edition, and this had the song Teaser, which at the time was only available on a compilation of various artist album, that one being the Tommy Bolin song, and then it has All in the Name of Live and Girls, Girls, Girls Live, along with 2 album cuts, Slice Your Pie and Without You. Not quite as rare and unique as the first edition, but cool nonetheless. So definitely enjoyed having that back in the day. And then the band kind of collected that stuff together and made a proper Decade of Decadence from 81 to 91. And so this adds in Live Wire, Piece Your Action, which are those original Leather Records mixes. They did a new recording of Home Sweet Home. That's on here. There is a live version of Kickstart My Heart. They have Teaser, the Tommy Bolin song we were just talking about. They add in another soundtrack recording, Rock and Roll Junkie from the Ford Fairlane soundtrack. And then 3 new songs, Primal Scream, Angela, and Anarchy in the UK, making this a really cool compilation and totally worth it. If you're a younger fan or you never picked it up at the time, I've always felt this is crucial to the collection to have because of all those alternate editions. And it actually sounds great, flows well. It was a fantastic thing. And as a follow-up to Dr. Feelgood, this thing sold 2 million copies on its own at the time. So it just goes to show you that even odds and sods, alternate collections, outtakes, whatevers, will still make for a great album. The band would return with new singer John Kurabi, making one of their best albums, in my opinion, a darker, heavier style album, but perfect for 1994 when this came out. Crucial Crew edition, we get some bonus content and tracks not released, couple cool outtakes and stuff like that, but a great album. Now, the band did something really cool because when you bought the self-titled Motley Crue album in 94, there was a little mail-in thing on the inside where you could mail away for an EP called Quaternary, where they did one band track, and then each of the 4 members made a solo recording, and you got those 5 tracks. Now in Japan, they added 4 additional songs to it, and you got the 9-track edition that I'm holding here, this Japanese edition, which added in 10,000 Miles Away, which was an outtake recording, not on the album, Hooligan's Holiday, an extended holiday version, Hammer demo, and Living in the Know demo, plus those original 5 tracks that came as part of Quaternary. So that was very cool. The band would then reform with Vince and put out Generation Swine. I flipped my cover the right way, even though the tracks are actually upside down within it. So I actually should say, there it is. That's actually, I was holding it the wrong way. So there's that, and then you flip it over and you've got the tracks. And again, Crucial Crew edition with the extra tracks. I totally recommend going out and finding those Crucial Crew editions. It totally is worthwhile for all that extra content, and the material sounds really great. Now in 1998, the band put out a greatest hits, 2 new songs. So this has Bitter Pill and Enslaved. And it also has the Generation Swine song Glitter done as a remix, and also on Generation Shine was Shout 97, and that version is on here instead of the regular Shout at the Devil version. And the tracks on here are not chronological, which I really like. So this being a very different sounding and style compilation to this one, making both of these very worthwhile in the collection. So up until this point, the band is doing a really great job, not just rehashing the same stuff over and over. They later reissued this, I think, a decade on in 2008, dropping the two new songs, dropping Shout 97, probably even dropping some of those Generation Swine tracks, if I'm not mistaken, and instead add in some later day stuff, the original Shout at the Devil, and making it kind of really a true greatest hits, but nothing absolutely special about it the way that I feel that this one is. We then get, in 99, Supersonic Demonic Relics. Now, let me jump back again. Hang on one second. This one here was collecting together stuff from Decade of Decadence, which was now out of print. When they put out their greatest hits, they were on a new label. They were off of Elektra Records. They had signed, they got their masters back, they reissued their catalog, chose to put out a greatest hits. So it left certain tracks like Teaser, Rock and Roll Junkie, Angela, Anarchy in the UK, Primal Scream, they didn't have a home. They popped up on here, Supersonic and Demonic Relics. They added in a bunch of other cool outtakes and stuff. They opened with Teaser and Primal Scream, but Saints and Sinners, an unreleased track. Monstrous, another unreleased track. Say Yeah, another one. But then they add in the stuff from Quaternary, which was really out of place sounding. They got Planet Boom, Bittersweet, Father. Those are the three songs from Mick Mars, Nikki Sixx, and Tommy Lee, and they don't sound like Motley Crue material. So it really sends the album down in a weird way. And then we jump back in with Anarchy in the UK, So Good, So Bad, another unreleased song. Hooligan's Holiday also sounding very weird on here because it's an extended remix by Skinny Puppy. So it's an industrial metal sounding tune. Sounds completely out of place. Then we get Rock and Roll Junkie, Angela, Mood Ring, an unreleased song on here, and Dr. Feelgood Live, Finding a Home. So it's a cool collection, but it just doesn't flow very well. It's not one I break out all too often unless I just want to hear those unreleased songs. And now this, I believe, is out of print, so I'm hoping that the band is gathering this stuff and content together to make another one, and perhaps they'll do it right and it'll really flow and sound good. So now something very cool that's different than the stuff that you could buy at the time. A promo album only, a Crucial Crew sampler that collected together tracks from those 1998 reissues of the albums, and it doesn't just gather up greatest hits, it gathers up some of that rare material. So you get the song Dr. Feelgood Live, you get Toast of the Town on here, the unreleased original, 7-inch song. You get Looks That Kill, an unreleased demo. You get Home Sweet Home, an unreleased demo. Girls, 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 which was a basic track version of it. You get It For Free, the outtake from Dr. Feelgood. You get Afraid, a Swine mix version. Kiss the Sky, an unreleased track from Generation Swine. Saints and Sinners, the unreleased song, part of Supersonic Demonic Relics as a promotion. And you get Teaser. So you get a whole bunch of other stuff too. You get Wild Side and Too Fast for Love and some other album cuts for a total of 17 tracks. This is a great compilation. And again, it's so different from already the greatest hits that we had and this one that, for me at least, I'm happy to have all of these in my collection. So, let's see. Try and keep all this stuff in order. Also in 1999, we got the first live album. We get disc 1, which focuses on like the early era of this stuff from their more metal sounding days. And then the second disc focuses on from like 1989 sounding era of the band, and it's got some of the later stuff from that period. But it basically, if I'm not mistaken, everything that is on here is only up through the Decade of Decadence, meaning Primal Scream is on here. So this does not have anything from Generation Swine, meaning it is a classic sounding live album. And it really does sound very, very good. I don't know how much tinkering was done, but it is very cool. And this live thing here is a die cut, which you don't really get on CDs all that often. So you have the live like that, and then you open it up and that's what you're seeing through. But very cool to have that as a thing, because if they redid this today, it wouldn't be done like that, I'm quite sure. All right, so the band, unfortunately, Tommy Lee at this point had gone to jail. Then he gets out and he decides, I'm kind of done with this. I want to go sort my royal oats and try some different things and make some non-Motley Crue sounding stuff. So the band continues on and gets in. The new drummer, Ozzy Osbourne's drummer, comes in and plays with them. And so we get Castillo, forgetting his first name offhand, I apologize. Randy Castillo in on drums, and man, the guy looks the part. He's all tatted up and pierced and everything, and he just fits right in, and he's a powerhouse drummer. And it's unfortunate that the band doesn't often represent this album. I don't think they play anything live from it. It doesn't appear on newer compilations and stuff, the same way that the Motley Crue 94 doesn't now. Generation Swine does it now. They've kind of just glazed over those three albums in their catalog. But this, produced by Mike Klink, Guns N' Roses producer from Appetite for Destruction and the Use Your Illusion albums, does a fantastic job at returning the band to their classic sounding material on this. It's one of my favorite albums that they did. And so then in 2003 and 2004, we get the first of the Motley Crue box sets, Music to Crash Your Car To, which some people have said is in bad taste because of the whole Nikki Sixx crashing his car and killing Razzle. I can't remember if he was the drummer. I think he was the drummer from Hanoi Rocks. Or sorry, it wasn't Nikki Sixx. Vince Neil crashed the car. Nikki Sixx did crash a car and died and then was resuscitated. So that's part of the reason that the whole crashing of cars thing, I'm sure. But anyway, not a laughing matter in that what Vince Neil did, very unfortunate, injured two other people. That's a whole separate thing. Was allowed to stay on tour and make money to pay them restitution as opposed to going to jail. Wouldn't happen today, wouldn't have happened if he was a celebrity. So that's why a lot of people say title of this, bad taste. Probably part of the reason that this and second box set, part 2, went out of print. Now, these two were starting of a 3 box set trilogy that, if I can get these together, was going to spell out Motley Crue, and we never quite got that far with it. So very interesting though, because this has disc 1, the original Leather Records mix, and then it gathers up everything, all those Crucial Crue things, all in here, plus a whole host of bonus stuff beyond that. But it was very cool. I'm trying to see if we got, not in this one, so it's the next one that has some extra bonus stuff. But you get a book in here. My copy, unfortunately, ended up in a leak when I was in an apartment before moving where I am now, and got a little water damage. And this is just a thing you don't ever come across. So one day if I ever find a copy for inexpensive, I'll pick it up, but I'm not going to replace it. And disc 2 has a whole bunch of cool content as well. But what it also did is it reproduced a comic and put a comic in there, which I thought was very cool. So you get a whole bunch of bonus stuff on disc 4. It's all that Supersonic and Demonic Relics related stuff, just enhanced across there and done better, in my opinion. But those extra tracks that appeared on some of those reissues would also be in these. So I did get that. I didn't have to replace my original Beyond Records first version of the Crucial Crues. Okay, I believe this is 2005. Red, White, and Crue, the band goes out on tour, records 3 new songs, puts out a 2 CD compilation. And this was a cool, fun one because a lot like Decade of Decadence, the band went in here and added some stuff, including the song Black Widow, which had not been released outside of bootleg cassettes that I had had. It was not officially released on anything, but it was on here. That is a song from the Shout at the Devil era. That's on here with a bunch of other, you get some single edits, some remixes, some other alternate editions. So it makes for very fun collection because it's not just the straight stuff from the albums, plus those 3 new songs on here. But again, they throw in remix of Hooligan's Holiday, and they throw in the Cortinari tracks that kind of throw the sound off, and you get that Generation Swine stuff. And so it doesn't quite flow like I would like it to flow. Now, just recently, maybe, I don't know, 6 months, I don't think it's been longer than that, I found out there was a single disc edition. This is a 2-disc. And it was maybe European release of some kind. And so I found a single disc edition. I think the covers are exactly the same, nothing really different about them. But this, the single disc edition, pared it down beautifully. And so I just think this is, as a holistic compilation, it is, again, a step beyond greatest hits. We are chronological on this. We do get the song Black Widow on here, so I can throw this on quick to get that if I want to. We get that Too Fast for Love remix. We get Home Sweet Home 91. They called it 91 remix, but it was re-recorded with piano, not keyboard, new vocals from Vince Neil. So it's nice when you go from, oh, that's actually the interesting thing. No Smoking in the Boys' Room is on here. Weird that they chose to leave that off. But I like it because I've got it on other compilations. And then we get towards the end and we get If I Die Tomorrow, the Sick Mix version, which is not what's on here. So you're getting that and Sick Love Song. And they leave off the cover song, which is the Rolling Stones track. Oh, I can't, I'm just trying to find it on here. There's If I Die Tomorrow, Sick Love Song. Oh, Street Fighting Man. So they leave Street Fighting Man off, which is fine. It makes this compilation unique and this one unique. And again, I can have them both in the collection. And that's kind of how I go about collecting. I don't buy everything my favorite bands put out. There's got to be something unique or a reason to get it for me to have it. All right, now I think we're into about 2006. I could be off a little bit. I'm trying to remember these dates as best I can. But we get the next of the live albums, and this was kind of a strange thing. I don't know if these were European only or just hard to come by, but I didn't find them at the time. I never saw them, and I had to buy them and found out there was a part 1 and a part 2. So Motley Crue Carnival of Sins 1, Disc 1, and Carnival of Sins Disc 2 sold separately. I think they were grouped. I think you could buy a Carnival of Sins as just a single 2 CD set. But I found it like this and thought this was much more interesting to buy it and have it this way. Great selection of tracks across the board. You can listen to each one individually. I had the DVD of this and didn't know there was audio and found it much later. So that was a cool thing. We move on to Saints of Los Angeles. This is 2008 and to date, their final studio album. So this has a DVD, I believe, in it. Let's double check. Yes, we have a DVD in this. And I realized I forgot to mention it. I want to jump back really quick because we just covered it. That this version of New Tattoo is the Hippo Records. That was the label that reissued after Beyond Records went out of business. And so all of the discs, the Crucial Cruise, got one extra track, generally a live song. This got an entire live concert added to it. And because they had, I think her name is Melissa Mahoney. I'm not probably getting it wrong. Smashing Pumpkins drummer, I think is it. No, Hole, the drummer of Hole, female drummer. She came in and took over for Randy Castillo when he got sick. And they put out a live DVD home video, and this recording is taken from it, but it captures that moment in time. She was never an official member other than just a touring person. Tommy Lee would come back for the Red, White, and Crew going forward. That was the big deal behind all of that, a reunited 4 original guys. But this has that extra live disc. And I wanted to let you know there is a 2 CD version of that album out there that's different than the other ones. So in talking about live things, unfortunately, 2016, between 2008 and 2016, Motley Crue releases 2 digital singles, the song Sex, and then at the same time, probably also 2016, All Bad Things Must End, which is the same as this, the End concert that was going on at that time. The band doing their retirement and hanging it up. So this here, 2 CD plus the DVD of that show. Nothing crazy. The band did, let's see if I can find it on here, Louder Than Hell. That was really the only rarity. Everything else was expected. All the hits in here. They also glazed over a lot of stuff and didn't do. Still a great show. One of the absolute most fantastic shows that I've seen was this one here with the huge stage production and Tommy Lee's roller coaster and the backup singers and the amount of pyro. I mean, it was awesome. Alice Cooper opened it. It was a great way to go out, and the band should have stayed, having gone out on that note. But of course, we know they didn't. They do get back together and oversee and write some new music for songs for a movie, The Dirt, their bio that came out, which was a huge #1 bestseller on the New York Times and everything. This is the slipcase edition. That's the cover most people know it from. But you got 4 new songs on here. You get, or actually, is it just, no, it is. They kick off with The Dirt. I don't know why they start with a new song. Then it runs through everything only up through Dr. Feelgood. We don't even get stuff from Decade of Decadence on here or Reunion or whatever. And the movie only goes up through that, so I get it. Actually, no, I take it back. They do actually go through the 1994 era and then the Reunion. I think it only goes through like Generation Swine, really. Just Reunion getting back together. But anyway, point is, the compilation could have been a lot better, but there are 4 new songs. So The Dirt, Ride with the Devil, Crash and Burn, and a cover of the Madonna classic Like a Virgin that they actually do a really cool version. But by this point, I'm kind of getting tired of their cover songs, and they're doing some weird ones now, which leads into the next thing where Mick Mars is out after a big stadium reunion tour by the band. It's getting negative reviews because Vince just doesn't sound very good. There's rumors that there's pre-recorded vocals and stuff, and people are enjoying it. It's not saying that it wasn't great for the fans and whatnot, but it just unfortunately now seems like the band is cashing in on stuff. And Mick Mars decides to retire, and he's going to stay part of the band, and they're going to bring in a touring guy, John 5, and then the next thing you know, Mick Mars is fired and out, and John 5 is a full permanent member. But we get this canceled EP in 2024. There's John 5 on the backside. John 5 had co-written songs that were part of this. He had been writing with the band for a while. His sound had already changed the band. It was one of the reasons I didn't like the direction of the newer material that was coming out, songs like Sex and All Bad Things Must End. John 5 had become the writing partner of Nikki Sixx, and it's just not my Motley Crue. And we get more of that here. Dogs of War, it's all right. Wasn't bad. It grew on me in time. The song Canceled is actually really good, but then they do a cover of the Beastie Boys song Fight for Your Right to Party, which I think is horrible. I don't like it. It doesn't come off well. It still has the shouty vocals like the Beastie Boys did. Instead of Vince actually singing it and turning it into an actual song as opposed to a rap number, not my cup of tea. But we got 3 new tracks. It's promising. And I think if the band goes and makes a full-length album, we will have something good. Which brings us to the new 2025 release called From the Beginning. It's a singles compilation where they're trying to tell us that this is something different. You know, they're focusing on the singles. But it has everything that we've already gotten. There's nothing on here except for a new version of Home Sweet Home where they brought Dolly Parton, a country singer, in to sing. Now, I want to clear something up because when I first heard, or what I thought was I was hearing of it, I don't know. I heard a version of Motley Crue, Home Sweet Home with Dolly Parton, and her vocals were only in the chorus, I guess you'd call it, the refrain, whatever, and it was in the background. And I was like, I can stomach it. It's cool. I got this and I heard this, and not only does she take a full verse, she sings, co-sings with Vince, and it's strange hearing his vocals and hers together. And it's really a different version. Now, I don't know. Are there two versions out there? Is there the rock version where she's only singing in the background and then maybe this is the country version? I don't know. I'm going to got to do some more research. This just came out a couple days ago for me and I just got it. So there's some stuff on here. They add in the song Saints of Los Angeles, which isn't on my original 1998 greatest hits compilation, not on Red, White, and Crew. So it picks up with that. It adds the song The Dirt. It adds in the new song off the EP, Dogs of War, and this new Home Sweet Home. What I don't like is they have the original Home Sweet Home back in, because it's chronological, back in the 1985 position. And then we hear another version all the way at the end as a, quote, new track. I think they should have left off the 1985 version, tacked this one on, and made way for one additional song, because they also glaze over the 1994 self-titled album, Generation Swine, and also New Tattoo. And I don't like that they skip over the singles from any of that. But they also add in Take Me to the Top, which I didn't even know was a single. So Live Wire, Take Me to the Top, Shot at the Devil, as far as I know, was never a single. But that's on here. That shouldn't be on here, so that bums me out. But we get Looks That Kill, Too Young to Fall in Love. Those were singles. Those were videos. So it's a weird compilation. It doesn't quite follow the logic, in my opinion, that it should be. But it's good. It sounds good. It's the newly remastered edition. So I wanted to get it. I'm a Motley Crue fan. I gotta have it. There's some uniqueness to it. I gave it an entire listen. I mean, once I put it on, it was just great, and I listened to it. But I have better compilations, in my opinion. Now, what really bummed me out was when I opened it up, you get that. There is no booklet. You take out the CD, and what is interesting is you get all the logos from the albums it represents, which shows you there's only 8 things covered here, but part of the 8 things is the most recent EP, canceled, and it has the Generation Swine. So, or sorry, not Generation Swine, has the Decade of Decadence. So Decade of Decadence from a greatest hits, and it jumps to that, and you can see in here we have the Saints of Los Angeles and nothing else in between. That is the closest information you get to what is here. It doesn't talk about whether any of these are single editions, remixes, I think it's the song Too Young to Fall in Love has a remix. Home Sweet Home had a remix. Those are pointed out on the other compilations that I have. So what are we getting here? Are they album cuts? Are they not? Right? So in my opinion, this compilation a little, it's just not as desired, I guess is my point. But like I said, I am a diehard Motley Crue fan, and there you go. That is my 30 CD collection of Motley Crue. I hope you've enjoyed this run through that not only covered all the cool stuff that I've got, but also kind of a cool little overview of the band and their history. Weigh in if you've got some cool Motley Crue stuff as well. What's your favorite thing in your Motley Crue collection?